All right, today we're diving into the story presented in our source material. It's about a dramatic military rescue, supposedly deep inside Iran. The source portrays this incredible tale of survival, overwhelming force, and, well, a pretty powerful political message. So let's get into what this story claims and how it's all presented. The story kicks off with just 3 words, attributed to President Donald Trump. It immediately sets the tone for a successful mission. But how we get to that point? Well, that's where things get wild. As you're about to see, the story told here is nothing short of cinematic. So here's the setup according to our source material. An American pilot crashes deep in the mountains of Iran. He's all alone, he's got a broken ankle, and the story claims the entire Iranian military is now hunting for him. Right away, you can feel the pressure, right? It's a classic race against the clock.
So the big question is, how did they pull it off? How did U.S. forces manage what the source itself calls one of the most daring search and rescue operations in history? Well, the video lays out this sequence of events that honestly sounds almost too incredible to be true. Let's walk through it step by step.
Okay, so the first part of this whole narrative is all about setting up this dramatic contrast. On one side, you have the single injured pilot, and on the other, the video claims you have the full might of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, closing in fast. It's a total David versus Goliath situation, right? The source claims the pilot, despite that broken ankle, somehow climbs a 7,000-foot ridge to get to cover. And what's he up against? The story alleges a massive manhunt with patrols, drones, dogs, even cash bounties for civilians. This contrast is absolutely central to the heroic way the story is framed. And the story really zooms in on the pilot's actions here. It describes this unbelievable feat of endurance, climbing a mountain with a broken bone to send out a signal, finding a tiny crevice to hide in, and even supposedly surviving a drone strike that hits right nearby. It's painted as an absolute battle for one man's survival.
And right here, this is where the whole story pivots. Because even though he was totally isolated and being hunted on the ground, the source makes it super clear that he was never really alone. From thousands of miles away, the highest levels of the U.S. military were supposedly watching his every move, around the clock, planning what would happen next.
Okay, so that brings us to the response. And according to the source, this wasn't just some simple pickup mission. No. What's described here is a massive, multifaceted military and intelligence operation on a scale that's presented as, well, staggering. And this is where the story claims things went into overdrive. We're talking about dozens of aircraft with lethal weapons. The U.S. supposedly jammed all of Iran the radar and communications. It used A-10 Warthogs to attack enemy forces and launched cruise missiles at air defense sites. The source even claims the CIA was on the ground running deception plays to mislead the IRGC. This isn't just a rescue. It's portrayed as a small-scale invasion. But listen, of all the wild claims in this story, this one might be the biggest. To get the pilot and the rescuers out, the source alleges that U.S. Special Forces built a whole, functional, temporary airfield overnight deep in the Iranian desert and did it all completely undetected. I mean, this quote from the source video just says it all, doesn't it? The sheer audacity of that idea. Building a secret airbase in enemy territory just to extract one person, it's pure Hollywood. All right, so this brings us to the grand finale, the climax of the story. Building the airfields was one thing, but getting everyone out safely was a whole other challenge. The final extraction is described as total chaos under fire. And the story gets even crazier from here. The special ops team supposedly gets the pilot, but they're under heavy fire. Then, their 2 big C-130 transport planes get stuck in the dirt at the new airfield. So what do? The call is made to destroy their own multi-million-dollar planes and then send in more aircraft to rescue the rescuers. I mean, it's just this cascade of insane, high-pressure decisions where failure just isn't an option. So after all of that, the firefights, the missile strikes, the planes they had to blow up, how many American casualties were there? According to the source, the number was 0. A perfectly executed mission with no American lives lost. So why destroy tens of millions of dollars worth of aircraft? Well, this quote really gets to the heart of the philosophy presented in the story. It's a testament to that principle that the person is always more valuable than the hardware. And when the dust settled, the story says the secret airfield was just gone. U.S. forces supposedly scrubbed the site clean, destroying everything they couldn't carry out, leaving nothing but rubble behind for the enemy to find. So you have to ask, Why do all this? Why go to these absolutely extraordinary lengths? Well, according to the source, this was never just about saving one person. It was about sending a message, a big one. So, what was that message? The source video frames this whole thing as a massive flex of American power. It's meant to showcase overwhelming air dominance, to reinforce that vow to never leave a soldier behind, and to present the whole operation as a moment of national pride. And this quote, which is attributed to President Trump, is really presented as the core promise driving this entire incredible operation. It's the moral justification for all the immense risk and all the resources that were supposedly put on the line. And this quote from Donald Trump Jr. ties the whole thing together with its timing. You see, the source video was released on Easter Sunday, so it frames the pilot's safe return as this kind of Easter miracle. You know, in the end, the source material pretty much admits how unbelievable the whole thing sounds. The combination of the lone hero, the overwhelming force, the secret desert airbase, and a perfect extraction, it's described, fittingly, as something you would expect to see on the big screen. And that's where we're left, with this incredible story from our source, a tale of heroism and unbelievable military power. But as we've seen, its claims are just so extraordinary. It really makes you wonder, right? Where do you draw the line between a documented military operation and a story that feels like it was written for a Hollywood blockbuster? That's the key question this whole narrative leaves you with.